Hey everybody, it's good to see you guys. We are the Goddess Glow Up, the Alchemy, the Red Lip Chronicles, the Red Lip Alchemy Chronicles, huh? Okay, let's do that again. We are the Goddess Glow Up, the Red Lip Alchemy Chronicles, where brilliance meets boldness and creativity ignites transformation, embracing wholeness and our communities. Welcome to the Goddess Glow Red Lip Alchemy Chronicles, a sacred space where Black femmes as African descended creatives come together to connect, converse, and radiate brilliance. This podcast honors the divine power within us, weaving African diasporic practices, indigenous traditions, ancestral veneration, and restorative rituals into a tapestry of personal and communal alchemy. Through bold storytelling, spiritual exploration, and collective wisdom, we celebrate the red lip as a symbol of rebellion, beauty, and sacred sisterhood. Join us on this journey to celebrate our power, honor our ancestors, and glow unapologetically. Happy Friday, guys.
Happy Freedom Friday.
Freedom Fridays. It's good to see you all. So I was about to get into a quick story, and then we were like, oh, wait, we need to like do all the things first. So,
Yeah, don't be
so
selfish. Share your story with the community.
exactly. So I'm going to share my story with the community. So I'm in Savannah, Georgia. And I just went to an event. There is a cultural and arts center here that was renamed for Dr. Otis Johnson, who was the first Black mayor of Savannah. And so they had this beautiful, renaming ceremony and event for him where they had several previous mayors of Savannah. The current mayor of Savannah, who is Van Johnson, who's not related to Otis Johnson, but was a mentee of Otis Johnson, honoring, and he was the person who was really behind having the building and the Cultural and Arts Center renamed for Otis Johnson. And so it's just a really beautiful tribute to, like, a reminder in the times that we're living in where it feels like everything is falling apart and these institutional structures that were never really meant for us are not serving us. It was a reminder of like how we do have this amazing history and living history, not just like past history of people who have been committed to their communities and building up communities and doing things like for the culture, right? And for the people. So Otis Johnson is like, grew up in Savannah, went to Savannah State University, taught at Savannah State University, where he was a mentor to like Van Johnson at Savannah State University, right? And so there were several just stories like that of a lot of these young men who were at like the Boys and Girls Club together and went to Savannah State together. And then like after they finished at Savannah State, went back to teach at Savannah State or, did different community focused events. So Otis Johnson was really known for as a mayor for someone who was very invested in the youth and different organizations for the youth and like Healthy Savannah. Like he had several initiatives that he started like in the 80s that are still going strong now. And so it's just beautiful to see like how he invested in the community through civic engagement, through local government, local politics, and how he poured into people. And it was beautiful to see people be able to kind of pour back into him and reflect that back to him while he was still living. And so that was also another kind of trope during the event was just so many times people tell the stories of how they've been impacted like after the person has died or after the person has gone on. And it was beautiful for him to be able to see in his lifetime the impact that he had, the building being named after him, and just all the beautiful stories that were told. And for me, it brought up a lot from childhood. Like it's like Savannah's it's its own place. So no disrespect to people who are from Savannah who might feel some other way about what I'm about to say. But in terms of my experience of it, so Tiff, you will understand this because we have shared, growing up, even though we grew up in the same household, but but then that's a different thing. But Savannah for me is an interesting mix of like our Montclair experience and our Trenton experience. Like it has some of the Black bouginess of Montclair, as well as some of the edge and grit of Trenton. So it's like an interesting kind of hybrid. But it reminded me of so many of like the library and community events that we would do in Savannah or the city of Trenton events and like NAACP stuff and other stuff with the mayor that we did in Trenton. So it was just like, oh, this is beautiful. Like there was a nostalgia for like, oh, this is familiar to me in terms of like how I grew up. And as a professor, the places I've lived, I haven't had that kind of connection to the communities. Like I've built my own connection and community with like other professors or academic organizations that I've started, but haven't really, like, I didn't feel that connected to the community of like State College, Pennsylvania, for example, or Nashville, like when I was at Vanderbilt. So it's just been beautiful to kind of get to a place of remembering and coming home to like those deeper community local connections with people who have this global impact and have global experience, but have been committed to like, this is my city where I grew up and where I want to invest my time and energy and resources. Again, especially as things are unfolding the way that they're unfolding. So yeah, so I'm like on this high of like, this was a really beautiful experience. I made good life choices. I'm glad I came to Savannah and, the more I'm being intentional about building my community here, like I feel like I'm reaping like I see the fruit of that investment of my time because it's like you start to see people at different events and then they remember you and they're like, oh yeah, you were at this thing. Oh yeah, you were at this thing. So yeah, so that's where I am, guys.
I love it. Did you take your youngest with you?
I did not. My youngest opted out of it, but I am taking my youngest. Who's the author? I think it's Tayari. I forget how the first name is pronounced, but the last name is Jones, who wrote An American Marriage.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
she's a Spelman alum, so I need to read that book before next week. But she's doing it like the
Did you
links are
get
bringing
Emmy?
her. I
Yeah.
feel like I did get that. Did you get it from her? I was like, I know I've seen it, and I was like, I think Tiffany gave this to me, but I don't think I have. I looked for it, and I don't have it here, so I'm gonna get it. But she's gonna be speaking next Saturday, and I'm taking Kalia to that. So
Ooh.
Kalia's willing. Oh, I keep my youngest. I know I can't help it. I'm just gonna have to check in. I'm either gonna have to check in about like, are you okay with your name and face on here, or do I need to go in and figure out how to edit, or you edit it because Kalia has better at editing
Yeah, they
stuff than
actually.
me. But I think they will opt into like probably like every other or every third event. So once I was there, I was like, oh, I think they might have been bored, but I think it still would have been good. But anyway, we'll
I just
see.
asked because I think about all those events that Queenie BB took us to, and
I
some I
definitely
enjoyed,
thought
some I
about
didn't
that. We went
enjoy,
to all
but
the
they
things. I
should
think
be
I think
awesome.
Queenie BB felt obligated to take us because Queenie BB didn't really have
Out
daycare
there, yeah.
and you were probably young. Like, I don't think Kalia trusted me with you. And you were, so like Kalia, I think is okay with just
My
keep going
youngest.
this
My
section.
youngest.
The fourth born was okay being here for like those 2.5 hours. But anyway, so yeah, but I will take I try to give some opt in and opt out privileges with stuff, and they opted out of this one, and I was like, okay, that's fine. So anyway.
I'm glad you had a beautiful experience.
I
And
did. I
I
did.
love that you are like, just like, again, you made good life choices, quitting your job and selling your house and making this big move to a place where you didn't really have any people, was really brave of you. And so it's so good to see, that your alchemy is manifesting and you're having such a good experience there.
Thank you. I definitely feel that too. I always tell people, I'm like, because some people are like, will complain about whatever, people complain about everywhere that, everywhere that people are, there's complaints about whatever that place is. And I always tell people, I'm here by choice and not by circumstance. Like, I chose to move to Savannah. I didn't have to move here for a job or for anything else. I'm like, I moved to Savannah because I felt called to Savannah. It feels like a spiritual home for me. So yeah, I definitely like, I feel like, even getting to the book, I do feel like the ancestors call me here, even though we don't know of any particular ancestral heritage in this place in particular. But of course, there's the whole Gullah Geechee Low Country situation here. So it's definitely like a deeply spiritual place. And you could just feel like even the trees are like the main character of Savannah. They're like these majestic, huge, beautiful trees with the Spanish moss and all of that kind of stuff. So yes, I am enjoying that. Okay, so does anybody else want to do a check-in before we get into the chapter for today? Just a general kind of what's happening. Yeah.
No, I am looking fabulous and
You are. Facts.
Yes, you are.
thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make Ebony proud.
100%.
Very proud. Very proud of the Schmexy. We have traded places.
I mean, you always look sexy though, like no matter
Stop
what.
it. I put on some red lips for y'all. Me and Tiff were at a meeting earlier today. I was barely
Well,
there.
I'm liking the glasses and the red lip too. Like it's a whole
Aw,
situation.
thank you. Thank
It's a
you.
whole situation.
Face is looking flawless as always. And, yeah.
Flawless.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
goddess.
Okay, so this week our goddess is Sara la Kali. goddess of divine lineage, Romani, Egyptian kind of background, tribute prayer ritual. The quote that we have is, "I am my sister, and my sister is me." That's beautiful. I feel like that
Definitely my
resonates.
sister, and my sister is definitely
Yes.
me.
The first
One.
thing I read when I read that was I thought of y'all.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yes, so her message, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but part of what I circled in terms of her message was being present and connected, which also connects and resonates with like all the things that we were just talking about coming into, opening this up this week. She's considered a keeper of mysteries. And so this, there always is this acknowledgement, we see you, we say your name. And then another quote, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you." And so I also appreciated that because it is the reminder of like that which is already within us that we need to connect to and cultivate. We're always talking about like our intuition and or even just again feeling called to do things or drawn to do things. And I feel like this definitely aligns with that as well. So Sarah is connected to, interestingly, like Southern France. And there's talk about like the different devotees who come to like pay tribute to her in the southern France. She's also connected to like Mary and all the Marys, so like the three Marys.
Mary Magdalene,
It-
Mary Mother of Jesus.
yeah, Mary Magdalene, Mary of Clopas, and Mary Salome, who were trying to escape religious persecution from the Romans. Sarah's considered a prophetess with gifts of divination. Um, she is also, there's a version of her story that describes her as the daughter of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I do
So
love
that's
the
the part that
Jesus
I
Mary
like.
Magdalene. Yeah, I love the Jesus Mary Magdalene story for sure. And I've definitely seen that represented in other places as well. So go ahead. You were gonna say that's the part of your story, the story that you liked or that you
Yeah,
were.
I don't like drama in my personal life, but I love to read and watch drama. And so I was like, yes, secret love child of Jesus and Mary Magdalene.
Mhm.
So that resonated with me along with just the story of her. Like, even though Mary Magdalene is rumored to be her mother, she also like helped to save them, right? And was able to tap into her inner goddess powers to be able to do that. So yeah, I was there for the tea.
Yes. Well, and I love how many of the goddesses are connected with water and like just water as this sacred space, as this spiritual space. The Black Mermaid thing that, kind of came up when we had the Black woman playing a Little Mermaid. But yeah, I'm also loving the connection with the water and protection and salvation from persecution, right? Which is an ongoing thing. Okay, anything else that you got that stood out to you guys about Sarah before we get into the kind of gray section with the divine lineage?
What I loved in just her initial message, kind of similar to the, what's inside of you is going to save you. But one of the first lines is the Holy Grail is you, right?
That
And
part.
so it's just a reminder of how much sometimes we are chasing after things and chasing after the Holy Grail. And it's like, stop chasing. Like, these are the things
Mhm.
that are already within you. So I really like that. The other thing that stood out to me in this kind of week's journey was to talk about the divine lineage and the question, what gifts of your divine lineage are you taking for granted? And so
Mhm.
that reminded me of the discussion that we have all the time of like, am I ancestors upstream, right? Or are there ways in which our ancestors were actually doing better than how we're doing? And so how can we tap into that? And whether or not she was or was not the daughter of Jesus, but just all recognizing that we all share this divine lineage and we're all connected through space and time. So those were the things that really resonated with me this week.
How about you, Ebony?
Yeah, same. Over after reading this over that week, as y'all know, I'm in San Diego once a week teaching, and my class was on coaching, and we're coaching to help folks uncover what's already within. But a lot of folks view coaching and leadership as just kind of being in this director position of directing and
Mm.
telling people and guiding them versus actually doing some of the healthy exploration so they can see what needs to be brought up. So I thought it was just really relevant to the week. And then of course, my own reflection of like what is already in me that and I love the saving. We are going to be the ones who save ourselves. And that also continues to resonate with me through this week too.
Yeah. I love it. It made me think of two for color girls who've considered suicide when the rainbow isn't enough. And the line, you know, I saw a God within myself and I loved her. I loved her fiercely. Like that's one of my
One of my
favorite
favorite lines
of
too.
all time. But yeah, so that as well as this what you were just saying, Tiff, about our ancestors' wildest dreams. I mean, for some maybe, and for others not so much. I think part of the issue that I have with that, not to poo-poo for people who absolutely love that. If you love it, continue to go with it. But I think it limits your ancestral
The
lineage
enslavement
to
and not the
enslavement and colonialism, as if there's not a great history that came before that or things that have come after that. And so I think there are, you know, I think we're in this time where people are thinking themselves as like the generational curse breakers and all of this other kind of stuff. And it's just like, okay, yes, that's part of your lineage, but that's not the totality of what your lineage is. So, so yeah, I think in some ways we are manifestations of the dreams and prayers that came before us. And then in other ways, you know, it's important to do the Sankofa, go back and get it and bring forward you know, the great things that were done that we, you know, that have been forgotten, that have been lost and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So divine lineage. Oh, so I will say my update. I did finally switch out the table, and put in the
That's your
bookshelf
altar
for
table.
my ancestral altar for the hallway. And I have a white cloth that I put on there. And so I did like a collage of some of those pictures that Queenie BB gave to us. And what else is there? And I have like a Buddhist sculpture and just some crystals. So that felt good to finally get that done. Let me tell y'all, my house, y'all know, because y'all follow me on social media. This has helped me get my house in order.
So proud of
Because
you.
y'all saw the before pictures.
No, listen, I was in your house dodging them boxes, and to be able, I'm like, oh, you got hardwood
A
floor.
whole hardwood floor. Yeah. I'm like, oh, those floors are good.
Thought you got hardwood floors because you couldn't
Because
see
you could
them.
not see the floors because there were so many boxes. That's why I put the before picture. And that was also the thing, like even with the social media posts, it's like, you know, sometimes we're on social media and you just get a small square of the picture, right? And so it's like, okay, yeah, this is the after, but these are some of the before pictures of like the progress and the process of getting from like all of these boxes and like the metaphysical and physical baggage that is represented in them, and then the after of like the beauty and the, you know, the openness of the space and all of that kind of stuff. So so yeah, that has been, so this has been super helpful for me, because part of the catalyst, of course I've been working on it for a long time, but part of the catalyst was like, okay, well, you can't erect an altar where you dodge in boxes to get to the altar. You know what I'm saying? So it was an
My
invitation to like
ancestors
really
tripping
clear
on
the
your
space.
boxes and stuff.
Right, exactly.
Oh, speaking
Um,
of ancestors, I actually do have something to share that I forgot to tell y'all. I actually told your youngest this the other day because I was like, oh, I forgot to tell your mom this. I was like, I got a story. It's creepy, it's scary. Do you want to hear it or not? And they were like, yeah, I do.
Of
Let's
course,
turn
of
off the
course.
lights to make it creepier. And then I told them, and they were like, Auntie Tip, why did you tell me this? Let me,
Oh, it's real creepy and scary.
yeah, but not for y'all. Y'all will get it. But so as you all know, the person that lived in this house before me died. They had cancer. It wasn't you know, they weren't murdered or anything. But I wasn't too freaked out about it because the house was built in 1925. And I was like, they weren't the first person to die in this house, right? And then my last house in Philly was built in 1890. I'm sure plenty of people died in the house that I just didn't know about, right? So when we moved to the house, my grandmother, who haunts my houses and lives with me, I gave her the directive that, like, you know, just so you know, somebody died and their spirit may want to linger. This is your house now. You're not going to let these California ghosts run all up in here when you a New Yorker. Like, so it's your job to protect this space, and you are welcome to bring any spirits in that want good for me, but any spirits that do not want good for me, like, your job is to keep them out. Like, we all have a job and roles and responsibilities in this household. And if you want to live here, then this is your responsibility. And she has taken it on well.
Just good
So
answer.
on Tuesday, when I was going to meet up with my friend for dinner, I was taking a shower and I get out, you know, 30 minutes later.
4 hours later, and Auntie took shower.
and after the shower, I get out and the fan is still on, but I hear a noise. And I know I hear a noise, right? So I turn the fan off and I listen and I don't hear anything, but I'm like, I know I heard something. So then I step into my bedroom and I just like stand there for like a minute and then I hear the noise again. And I'm like, I know I live in an old house, it makes noises, but I know all the noises in my house. I'm like, this is not a noise that I'm familiar with. So then I like walk towards where I think I hear the noise coming from. I think it's coming from the hallway. So I walk like just to the edge of my bedroom door and I hear, and it sounds like it's coming from like the closet that holds the towels between my bedroom and the main bathroom. And so I'm immediately thinking, rats have gotten into the house and there's a rat in this closet. It's gonna jump out at me.
Like that's how loud it was?
It was like, it was a noise kind of like it almost sounded like maybe there was like a rat in the closet, like there was something in the closet trying to get out or something. So I'm like, what the F am I gonna do? Right. So then I like step further into
I'm more scared of that, you know, than the spirit.
I know. It wasn't that because otherwise I would still be in my house.
I think we all have the same fear.
If it was a rat, I would be in a hotel right now. So it wasn't.
My kids don't even say that word around me. They're like, you know, the animal that you, and I'm like, okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
So then I get the brave. I'm like, I got to figure out what this is though, right? So then I step into, and I'm like literally in a towel, like dripping fresh out the shower. And I step into the hall and I look and I see the light is on in the bathroom.
In the hall bathroom next to the closet. Okay.
Yes. And so I'm like, okay, now the day before I did go into that bathroom to get some citric acid because I had to do some deep clean for one of my plants things. So I was like, okay, I think I turned that light off, but it's possible that I left that light on when I was in the bathroom. And then as I'm standing there, I see the door move. So I'm like, all right, I gotta see what's it like. I gotta open the door and see what's happening, right? And I'm like, this is how every
scary movie.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is the end of me. But I'm like, I gotta see. And I open the door and I feel it's cold. And but then I look, and so in that bathroom, there's a stained glass window. It's a window that I have never opened in my life. A window that I did not know could open, but I think other people have opened it. And the window, the top part, you know, there's like the lower pane and the upper pane. The upper pane is halfway down.
Wow.
And so the only conclusion, the only logic. So what
I'm gonna say, what have you? What
I'm thinking is that perhaps when family was in town, somebody must have unlocked the window because all of the windows in my house are locked at all times. So somebody must have unlocked it and maybe raised the lower part, but then in an unlocking, something may have been able to open. But y'all were in my house 2 months ago, right? So, and I know the night before when I was in that bathroom, that window was closed because otherwise I would have felt the breeze just like I did the first time. So my conclusion is that there were some spirits in this house that did not belong here. And that Kathryn Bell was like, y'all got to go. And so she opened the window and she escorted them out. And I can think of no other logical explanation.
I mean, that works for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
So all that to say, as we're talking about ancestors and the way that they are protecting us, I am just grateful that I live with my ancestors and that they live with me and that they are always protecting me from anything that might try to cause me harm. And so it's another invitation to me to release some of this hypervigilance that I've lived with all of my life, knowing that like there are other people protecting you. Like you don't have to keep your guard up. You don't got to stay ready because the ancestors have you and they're protecting you from things that you don't even know are there. So.
Well, and it also connects to the refrain in the chapter of "You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone." In a way, not only of like spirits visiting you, but the spirits that are protecting you in the spaces that you're in. Yeah. Were you gonna say anything, Ebony, or are you just taking it in?
I'm taking it in. I'm taking it
spirits in my house. Ebony be seeing them.
Yep. I'm glad she was there to protect and open up that window and say, "Get the hell up out of here." Yeah, I've been the same, reflecting with my ancestors, just in regards. I got my altar together. It's not fully there, but I was able to get the cloth on. I ended up not doing white. I know that was the recommendation, but I was like, my ancestors want something colorful.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I think, well, and we talked about that last week too, where Tiff was like, I don't say this, but like, I'm going to go with what intuitively I'm feeling. So yeah, I have a nice mix. Like my fireplace one is like an African print, but that one is a white one. But so all that to say, I love it.
Yeah, and I just added a few of my ancestors there, and I've been using the ancestor deck. And so I've been pulling cards based on the three ancestors that are there and placing the cards in front of them, almost like here's their messages. And the very first one, which was the one which was my grandmother, was the Sarah card.
Mm.
And I was like, She was like, you better be checking for me, boo. I'm here for you. What are we doing?
Oh.
So I appreciated that. I said, wow, this is the same week I'm pulling the card and pulling and reading it in the book. So it definitely was something that I have not been engaged in is ancestral veneration. Not enough. There are times when I lean into it, but not as intentional as I have been over the last couple of weeks. And then my son was struggling with like, what are the next steps after high school? Tiff knows this. At one point, he was like, "Well, I think I'm going to go into the military," and I was like, "What the hell is going on? What recruiter done got in your ear? This can't happen, right?" And so we were able to get him out of that. But then he was kind of in this tailspin of like, what am I going to do? And so we just took a day where we were just working on like exploration. And then after a very grueling day, because it definitely was, just trying to do that exploration with him without him feeling like he needed to make a decision, but just like, what's the next thing? Um, uh, that evening was when we pulled cards, and I said, "Do you want to pull a card from the ancestors?" And the ancestor card was that he is on the right track and he needs to trust himself, and he has power. And you could tell he got really emotional, and the rest of the evening he kept on saying like, "Can you believe that? Can you believe that?" And so that was really powerful too.
I love that so much, bringing the babies into this.
I do too. That is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that's such a wonderful gift too. I love that. And I feel like your prayer is being answered too for him to explore other options. For real, for real.
For real, for real.
Yes. Yeah, last week was Toni Morrison and Audre Lorde's birthday. So I got them a cake and left a slice of cake for them on the altar for them and some fresh flowers. And then I ate the rest of the cake. Me and Khalid ate the rest of the cake, but it was really mostly me, if I'm honest. And there I go, dropping that child's name again. But that name just must be sad.
Please give them their red lips.
Yeah.
They are officially a part of the Chronicles.
They actually like low key. If they were a part of this podcast, it would be so spicy.
It would be lit.
It'd be so
Our tea would be clocked all day.
all day,
All day
clocking our
long.
tea, all day.
All day long.
Yes.
Absolutely. They actually gave a wonderful, I was at an event at their school yesterday and they did a very powerful poem on like Palestine and genocide. And so I was like super proud of them and the poem itself and the delivery of it. And so it was a really beautiful moment. So I'm like, you know what? The youth are actually gonna be okay. Like we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. And also a reminder of like, those coming, we talk about those that come before us, but those who are coming after us as well are carrying on these beautiful traditions. So one of the questions that I appreciated here is this is on page 61. What gifts of your divine lineage are you taking for granted? And I wondered if you guys reflected on that at all or what that might have brought up for you guys.
I definitely have. That is something that I wrote down too, and have definitely been thinking about that. And so, thinking about, I can't remember which of Nana's sisters Queenie BB told us was like the herbalist and the witch woman, right? But like recognizing and knowing that those powers are, within us. So thinking about those gifts. But again, related to that, I think I would have been thinking much more about, actually, let me pull up my, let's see if I can find my reflections on this that I was writing. But it was tied into me looking at those pictures last week of the last bath and engaging with the ancestors. So I'm just gonna, let me find it and I'm gonna read it to you.
While you're pulling that up, or do you already have it up, Tiff?
I do. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Feeling the weight of my ancestors, I kneeled into the river, deepening my connection to the land and the water and the people. As the God approached my sister and I, he took our hands and gently poured water over us, cleansing, blessing, and praying for us. In that moment, I felt not just the presence of those who came before me, but the power of their survival and their resistance. The ritual was more than a remembrance. It was a reaffirmation of the path that I'm walking and a commitment to carrying their strength. Reflecting back on this journey, I now ask myself, if my ancestors had been given the autonomy over their bodies, their labor, and their knowledge, would they have remained in systems that are designed to control them? My ancestors survived through collectivism, spiritual grounding, and community care, yet here I am struggling with overworking, hyper-independence, and burnout. Am I really my ancestors' wildest dream? What would it look like for me to honor their legacy differently? How can reclaiming my own joy, autonomy, purpose move me closer to honoring my ancestors and creating a liberated future that they envisioned? So that is kind of what was sitting with me as I was reflecting on that.
Beautiful.
Yes.
What were you gonna say, Eb?
Well, next time you're gonna have to read that slower for the people in the back, because it was powerful. And I mean, I caught all of it, but I know, processing speeds for different
Anybody
folks,
who's
but-
watching, you can link and follow me on Substack where I have posted this message.
Okay, there we
Substack,
go. There we go.
Magic.
I love it. Yeah, that really resonates. I actually, interestingly enough, this conversation around ancestors' wildest dreams, I just saw a poem about it just yesterday. So I feel like it's coming up because I too feel the same way around like, is it or what why do we keep saying that? And even some of the other things around like, oh, I'm not my ancestors. And it's just all of it kind of just really starts to feel very disrespectful. And so
Yeah, I am not my ancestors and you can catch these hands is really disrespectful to me because
it is
erases the history of those who resisted and
exactly.
as if, yeah, I'm
exactly. Exactly. And the poem that I read, and I'm gonna mess it up, but it really focused on, what exactly Kathryn was saying around, that there's so much more. And so she had reframed it and said, instead of it being my ancestors' wildest dreams, I'm thinking about like my ancestors' prayers for me. And that is one of rest. And so even as Tiffany's describing, right, like the overworking and not having those moments that we should on our rest journeys, that a part of that is for us to put some things down. And so I've been thinking about, obviously, that's been my journey over the last 2 years. And so I'm continuing to work on that. But when I think about where my, what I'm not maybe leveraging that my ancestors have given me, it's been about power. And so the messages and the cards we've pulled around, we have what we need and we need to take those steps and move into action, has been something that I'm continuing to work on and unpack and hold that as my truth, because it's easy for me to just get caught up in a lot of things day to day and not hold space for the areas that allow me to truly lean into the power of my ancestors. What about you?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I also was thinking about the aunt whose name I don't remember now. So I think you were on that text, Tiff, when I was trying to figure out, like looking back through the pictures, like who was who. Because there's the one aunt that we have the picture of, which I was hoping was that aunt, but it was not that aunt. Because I want the picture of that aunt. So yeah, I definitely feel connected to that. I also really feel connected to like the original Kathryn Bell's entrepreneurship. Like again, I think so often there are these stories of trauma and drama and other things that come with family stories, which are there, but it's never only that. And so it's like she had a successful, now granted, there was all kinds of kind of money being moved through these spaces.
Okay, there was a successful numbers running business, and then there was a successful bar and delicatessen,
and exactly, and the luncheonette.
So
that laundered the money. But I'm like, yeah, but it's like it's important to remember, like, okay, we had business owners in our family, right? And like the number runners and the bar and the luncheonette And I'm thinking about also like even when you look at say Maya Angelou's, she wrote like 8 memoirs, but like and I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, she talks about how she lived with both her mother was also an entrepreneur and had like was running like gambling things and stuff like that out in California. So her mother was not to be played with, but her father's mother, her paternal grandmother, ran like a local store, right? And it was the place where, like, again, it's segregation time. So this was the place where people could actually go to buy lunch or to buy food or to buy goods. And when they were coming through the like the Depression time, her mother was somebody who actually loaned money to white people who didn't have access to money, right? And so like these businesses have always been important. So I don't think everybody needs to be an entrepreneur, but I do think entrepreneurship is a major component to the community building that's necessary, again, as these other institutions are, it's always kind of been a house of cards, but the facade is definitely falling away. And so I think, again, when we're returning to the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and even before that, not just remembering the segregation and the oppression, but also like the strategies that were used for confronting that and how we were able to survive during those times. And like, again, going back and getting it with the 21st century, twist on it. So yeah, so those were some of the things that I was thinking about just like within our own family. And then even on the paternal side, like our paternal grandmother retired at 55. Like she's somebody who migrated from North Carolina to Jersey. And it was one of those things where her sister went up first and got like a factory job and then was like, there's work available up there. So she left our father, her son, with like a sister. She went up, got a factory job, then ended up switching over to working for a mental hospital and then got into like, I'm sure somebody's done a study on this, but the study of like Black women having access to nursing as a way of upward social mobility, because she didn't go to college, but she was able to get into this nursing program where she got like, I don't know if she was an RN or whatever, like the thing next to that is, but she worked in this mental health institution for however many years, maybe, well, 25 years, I think. So she got in at a young age so that when they were doing early buyouts, she was at an age where she could be bought out, not based on her age, but based on the years of service. But again, like a 55 retirement at 55 as opposed to 65 or 70 or 75 is part of a lineage that we can tap into, even if we don't have no time or energy for some of the other stuff that has come from that side of the family. So just the reminders of like, again, this question of like what gifts of your divine lineage are you taking for granted, or maybe not remembering or not calling forth. I thought about both sides in that way, and then also the lineage of like, for me, I definitely love to tap into the Black women literary lineages for my life and for like my writing and my work. So this was a great chapter for that for me.
Yeah, I was definitely reflecting on OG Kathryn Bell because she lives here, but definitely thinking about that entrepreneurship and kind of the fear I have still around branching out on my own and like the traps of capitalism and how I'm going to sustain my lifestyle. But knowing that like if she could be a Black woman business owner in the 1950s, surely you can start a liberation lab in the year of our Lord 2025. And so tapping into that. And also maybe part of my fabulousness today is not just for Ebony, but recognizing that like my grandmother was a whole pinup girl, right? And so how can I tap into, like I lean so much into, even though I'm looking very quirky today, I lean into my quirky side in the childlike side, but also embracing that sensual side and that pinup girl energy that lives within me as well. It's something I've been thinking about. And that like that is a part of my divine lineage that I have not spent enough time connecting to. Not this.
I gonna keep it wet and juicy. Yes,
Wet
I
and
agree.
Speaking of the juiciness, I went to an amazing play party last weekend in Atlanta.
We have not talked about this. Like I knew you were in
Yes.
Savannah, but we have not talked about
We
it.
have not. So I was thinking about when you said pinup girl, that's what like brought the memory up. So I just ordered a bunch of stuff from Savage X Fancy because I be trying to support Black businesses and I'm leaning into my Professor K stuff. So I was like thinking through my aesthetic for that. And I ended up actually not even wearing any of that for this particular event. But, you know, Atlanta is the place for all things Black kink, BDSM. And there's such beautiful communities there. And so it's like once you, I mean, it's just like what I was describing as Savannah. It's like once you start going to things, then you see, you know, you get to know people because people are at the same events. So this was an event that was put on by Susia New York City. So that's an organization that does play parties in New York. And they did like a collab in Atlanta. So I had been wanting to go to something of theirs, but I hadn't been able to get up to New York. And I was like, oh, but Atlanta I can get to. So it was a great event. Like a lot of the people that I know from the other spaces were there. And it was a similar but different experience that I just described for the mayor's thing, because it's like, oh, okay. So it was like seeing old friends or people that, because you're, you know, acquainted with each other in various degrees of intimacy from other spaces. So that was like one of my favorite Doms was there. And so like we had a whole thing, and so it was just good. It was good to see people that I knew, that I know well and love and appreciate, and meet some new people. And so yeah, and then just to make time for that, because you know, again, like it's not you, like you gotta be creative, because I'm a mother, you know. As Kiki said. So I was very proud of myself for making time for that and prioritizing that for myself, and getting out there and getting it done. And I had a really good time. So it was much needed, but yes to all the wetness and all the juiciness. That too. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
All right, yeah, we got 10, 15 minutes, so shall we
Yeah.
go
So do you want to
on
switch to
card?
pulling cards? Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So I'm gonna pull this week from, because the woman Abiola Abrams, who we're doing this goddess initiation with, in addition to the African Goddess Rising deck, she has a Secrets of the Ancestor Oracle deck. So since this week is focused on the ancestors, I'm gonna pull from that deck. And what I love is that it has my favorite anchor symbol on it, which is the
Oh,
Scanco.
nice. Beautiful.
So let's see if I
Do
look.
you want to pull a community card this week from that deck?
Sure, we can. Mhm.
Or okay.
I love to look back at it, bird. So, um, all righty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull. I shuffle the deck. I'm gonna pull one from the top and one from the bottom for the shadows. So the top one that I pulled is the Altar of Fire, Good Juju, which is number 22. Be inspired. There's something in the air and it's your success. Great things are happening. Open yourself to opportunities and unexpected choices. Claim your moment, beautiful. Embrace the rebirth in love, health, money, and happiness. This is not the time to tiptoe. Be big, be bold. You are manifesting wonderful outcomes, but you must take creative action to let it all in. Be ready to expand and evolve. This is what you've been waiting for. The ancestral memory. The altar of fire is represented by Gaia Dua, the fire tree of the matriarchal Akan people. The fire tree holds the Kra of life force energy of the supreme being goddess Nyame. The fire trees were planted by the Queen Mother, who maintained the ancestral altars and shrines to goddess Nyame on behalf of her people. Ancestral medicine. Set up an altar in honor of the fire goddess energy, from the flame-loving cobra goddess Wajet of Egypt to Madame Pele, the Hawaiian volcano goddess. The shadow aspects, if it's reversed, and it actually was upside down when I picked it up, delays, delays, delays. There's energy and confusion about your new beginning ideas and success. You feel unmotivated. You're waiting for inspiration to hit. Be patient. What goes down must come up. Have compassion for yourself. The tarot correspondence for this is Ace of Wands. And the declaration is, it is easy for me to be successful. So I think that this is always perfect and on time, as I was just talking about next phases for me, and a good reminder that great things are happening. The community card that I pulled is 33, Root of Air, Explore. You are feeling ready for adventure. Where will your curiosity lead you? This ancestor reflects the part of you that is hungry for knowledge and truth. If she is a reflection of you, you are driven, relentless, and on the move. With a notebook full of crazy schemes and plans, you need people around you who believe in you and who will ground you. Right now, you are the center of attention. Traditionally, this has been a somewhat scary place to be. You may have even you may even be having the stirrings of a new sexual awakening. Oh, okay. That must be why I'm stumbling on those words. I didn't even know what the ending was.
Right. You were reading fast, and then all of a sudden.
So much. Sexual awakening, the ancestral memory. Yes, you are curious, but are you asking the right questions? Them old people, as we say in Guyana, used to say that some folks are too smart for their own good. This means that they could have had all the book smarts in the world and still lack the wisdom or street smarts required for the task at hand. Don't let this be you. Ancestral medicine. The root of air is the plant spirit of the vegetable okra. For the Akan of Ghana, okra is an Absum deity aligned with the soul. Kra means soul. The energy of the okra spirit is slippery. It makes it a yummy dish, perfect for spiritual cleansing and slipping away from undesirable situations. But this slipperiness is still not a desired trait for humans. The shadow aspect. Your energy is unfocused and disorganized. You're all talk, but not really moving forward with anything. The tarot correspondence is the Page of Swords. The declaration is, I'm willing to open to learn and grow. So there you go, community. This is what we have for you, the root of air for this week. And this was my altar of fire.
Beautiful. Did you pull a card yet, Ebony? No. Okay. Okay, I pulled one, so I can go. Okay. I'll tell the story at the end if we have time. This is a last weekend event story. It involves a trumpet, just as put a pin in it if we have like 30 seconds at the end. Okay, my card is from the deck that we've been pulling from before, the African Goddess Rising deck. So I got Oshun. Y'all know I love Oshun. My house is named Oshun, Oshun's Oasis. So this is number 25. So Goddess of Fearless Love, Yoruba, Nigeria, Temple Lovers, Element Water. Goddess Oshun is the exalted Orisha or deity of honey sweet waters, love, sensuality, fertility, and beauty. But the Yoruba Lady of Gold's anger and jealousy can also flood and destroy. Oshun's guidance: dare to love, begin with loving yourself, allow yourself to be loved. You feel everything deeply, all the Cancerian energy. You are porous with a wall around your heart. This is your paradox. Embodiment. You are love and you are worth loving. Your divine assignment is to remain open to fearless love. I'm stumbling over that, like Tiff was stumbling over the sexuality. I'd have been flowing with the sexual heart. Okay. Your divine assignment is to remain open to fearless love. You deserve to be loved in your language. You are worthy of a love that remembers your beauty at your ugliest moments. Don't allow your unhealed past to block your future. Real love is a sacred contract that says, I am vulnerable and committed. Your heart is safe with me. Let's expand our consciousness together. Goddess declaration: I give love, I receive love, I am love. That's beautiful.
It was beautiful and perfect.
Yes. So I pulled card 15, Sekhmet, which is on my ancestor altar here. Because that is one of the goddesses that I have a lot of reverence for as I embarked on my own journey and kind of navigated that through Healing Grace Studios. And so Sekhmet is the goddess of wounded healers and is the fierce ancient Egyptian goddess of war, the sun, and healing. And she carries life force in her palm with the power to create or destroy. Sekhmet's guidance is heal thyself. Everyone gets your best except you. You are a healer among your tribe. Stop putting your needs last. I'm not going to trip over those words. I know I need to hear them. When did you decide?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said, I need to hear them too. So
I know.
I love that these cards everybody's card always resonates, right? That
I know.
we are like, it is alchemy. Like we are manifesting something so powerful together. And I feel it.
Exactly. I'm like, I didn't even know Sekhmet was in this deck, right? Like, so to just have that pulled and then look back on my altar and go, okay. So the embodiment is, when did you decide to become a martyr? Take a breath. Wounded healers hold sadness, rage, and fears of brokenness. Being a warrior wasn't a choice for our beloved foremothers. They did the best they could. But being a goddess warrior for us is knowing that we have the choice not to fight all the time. Deep dive questions. What are your swords, the weapons you use to fight? And what are your shields, the ways you defend yourself? Dare to lay the burdens down along with your swords and shields. Our goddess declaration is, it is safe to put myself first. Yeah, clocked my whole tea.
I
I
see.
love it. I also appreciate that the deck as well as the book, it definitely is again about the ancestral veneration and a lineage, but it also is the reminder of to like go from the inside out instead of these out. Like it's never about seeking external validation or things that are outside of yourself. It's just like love yourself first and receive love, heal yourself first and offer healing. So I love that refrain and that reminder with each of the cards that were pulled.
Yes, I do too.
All right, we going to end on the trumpet.
We got to
Yeah.
trumpet. Okay, so here's the thing. So at the beginning of this event, so they do, again, this is what I love. And again, I go to particular professional Black kink and BDSM spaces. So I'm always like, don't just be rolling into somebody's party and letting somebody like flog you or spank you who don't know what they're doing. But what I love about these spaces, there's always a conversation around consent, around your yes, your no, your maybe, your boundaries. There are guardians to make sure things are on, like to hold you to your own boundaries as well as other people's boundaries, that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of space it's in. And there's always, so that's always like a kind of set the tone at the beginning of whatever is going on. So at the beginning of this, people could say like, okay, I am here doing this and I'm offering this. And you can say like what you're offering that you want to give to people there who want to receive that thing. So there was a person there who plays the trumpet and he was offering other things. But the thing that stood out to me was like, he was like, I'm offering to blow my trumpet on vulvas. And I was like, who knew that was even an offer that could be extended? I'm like, I need to expand my range of possibilities of what I need to be thinking about or asking for. So I got my vulva blown by a trumpet, like a literal trumpet. It wasn't a figurative, it's not a metaphor. It was like literally. But it was interesting because you could feel like the air and the vibration of the instrument. So I got my vulva blown by a trumpet this weekend and it was amazing. And it helped me tap into how can I be more expansive when I think about what I want to manifest in my world, because like that was not on my list of things to ever
Was it
ask
on your
for.
bingo card? Trumpet, vulva.
So there's my story. Yeah, I got my vulva blown by a trumpet last weekend.
I'll be purchasing a trumpet, getting some lessons, making sure that my partner knows how to take some lessons, and
Just make sure no purchases today.
no purchases today.
No purchases today. That is right.
Tomorrow, find a Black music store and purchase your trumpet.
Listen, we got to get into this reducing consumption conversation. I know I need to.
Dude, guess what I did today, Ebony?
What'd you do?
Cancel my Amazon subscription.
I'm doing it on Monday. I took Monday completely off to go through every subscription.
I canceled all of
I've been thinking about you.
I know. Please.
Because I was like, we gotta hold each other accountable, and me and you are some Amazon girlies.
I canceled my subscription. I canceled my Audible subscription. I also do have an Amazon credit card, and so I'm gonna it's probably like a couple $1,000s on there that I need to pay off, but I can't pay anything today. So I will pay that off on the weekend or something and then cancel that card too. But it was like a moment of silence from my last Amazon purchase. And yeah, and all of my subscriptions. It's
real.
It's real.
We in it together.
It is a good way. So I like replace some subscriptions with like Black owned things. But it's also just an opportunity, like not having that quick and easy access. And like, how do I just like lean forward in consuming less? So it's gonna be hard for this maximalist, but I'm here for the journey.
Same.
Yeah, I've weaned myself off of Amazon for the most part, so I don't have any like subscriptions with them, but I do have a credit card with them, so that does remind me that I need to cancel that credit card.
Yeah, living and breathing fully into it.
So yeah, we definitely we gotta get together, Eb, because we gotta reflect on that. And
I know we need separate time because we got Carnival Saturday. We
Yeah.
got
Are you
we got
driving your son to
we're going to see the band on Thursday. What'd you say?
You are going to the theater. Oh yeah, we can wait till
We
Thursday.
can talk over dinner. Okay, we should let's want to close this up.
Oh yeah. Oh, so yeah. Sorry, community.
Right.
But just so y'all know, we real friends. We
Yeah.
we not real housewives of anything just coming together for, but like we are like actual friends.
Right.
But yes, so call me, just call me maybe when you're heading out or when you're on your way back from
Okay.
dropping it off at the airport, and we'll
Okay.
coordinate something.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. It's good
All
to see
right.
you. I love you ladies so much.
Love you too. I'm so
like,
grateful.
yeah, it's the highlight of my week, and it's definitely like the alchemy is working. It's definitely
No, it really is.
The alchemy is alchemizing.
the
Yes.
alchemy is alchemizing. Yes, yes. All right, y'all. See you next
Right.
Love y'all. Bye.
week.
Bye.